You are listening to the Call to Action podcast, where we aim to inspire, educate, and inform entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 32 of the Call to Action podcast. I'm your host, Shantae, and on today's show, I'm going to share some information with you on ways to increase your mobile app downloads. Now, this is, of course, for my entrepreneurs, my small business owners, you retail, restaurants, boutique shops, all of you. I'm spreading love to all of you. Now, before I get into today's topic, I have an inspirational quote that I would like to share. This is from the Dalai Lama. So here is the inspirational quote for episode 32 of the Call to Action podcast. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Let me say that one more time. Let that resonate. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Entrepreneurs, I think this just speaks to us, doesn't it? It comes from, it's not just happiness, it's everything that we do. It just comes from within. So let that resonate. Let that soak in. Let that quote just seep into you today. If you missed episode 31 of the Call to Action podcast, as always, it is a must listen. In that episode, I hosted a fireside chat with a guest, and his name is Obasi David. Obasi David is a man of various skills. He is an illustrator, a graphic designer, a somewhat counselor, a network and systems engineer, a writer, and an entrepreneur that runs a small IT solutions company. All of that, and on top of that, David also has a blog called Off-World Tales. And he's also a published author. Listen in as he shares what inspires him to write. In that podcast, he talks a lot about his writing, his blog, and he also talks about how he is able to blend genres when writing, which I found to be very interesting. So if you have not heard that podcast, make sure to go and check it out after listening to, of course, this episode. But I'm going to share a clip with you in this one. So take a listen and hear some of what was shared in that podcast.
Just like that, I actually incorporated romance into my line of books I write. So I actually have dark romance, I have romance, even the ones I'm supposed to publish tomorrow, Lover's End. It's a mix of
That's a unique
romance and
combination.
horror, but it's
Romance, and that's like two different ends of the spectrum coming
yeah,
together.
yeah. You can imagine that. I was having a chat with a friend on on Twitter, and she was like,
Go to ctamarketing.biz to hear the complete episode. To do that, click on podcast on the menu. You will see that listed as well as previous episodes. All right, my business owners, my entrepreneurs, my restaurant owners, you retail shop owners, all of you, let's get into today's topic. So again, it is about ways to increase your mobile app downloads. I'm going to share this because this is actually from a personal experience that I had recently, and I was driving downtown and looking for a place to park. So I found a meter. And the meter was like, you can pay via the app. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like not even enough information, my opinion. So basically, that is something I think could have been done a little different, actually very differently. And here's just some things I found. So basically with that, what should have been done, I feel, is that time to search for an app when you're in your car trying to park is not the best way to go about doing that. something that could have been done was provide a link to the app. There was no direct link to access the mobile app. And also, if you're searching for the app by name, that can be a problem. There's millions of apps in the App Store, and oftentimes they have similar names. So here's some information I'm going to share with you. Of course, I always have stats, guys. I do my research. But here's some stats that I got from websitebuilder.org about app downloads. So this just gives you an idea, just kind of puts things in perspective about apps. So basically, consumers downloaded 204 billion apps in 2019. That was just last year, 2019. 2% of app users open an app over 100 times per day. Wow, that's a lot. Kind of excessive, but I could see that, I guess, if it's social media. And then 81% of mobile users have Facebook installed. Also, the final stat that I have is that social media mobile apps are the most used app category. So as you can see, consumers use apps. A lot of information there about that, a lot of app usage. So why not make it easier for your mobile app to be accessible? And again, this is for my small business owners. That was probably a municipality that put that together, at least with the meters, I'm assuming. But I'm speaking directly to the business owners, the entrepreneurs, people like myself, who are doing their own thing and are on the grind every day. So I'm going to share some tips with you, how to do this, how to increase your app downloads, and it won't cost you anything at all. Just a little bit of your time, maybe some imagination and creativity. You can always work that into. So here's what I propose. Here's my solution that I'm sharing with you. Use QR codes to provide instant access to information. Now, that could have been done easily. On that parking meter, a QR code could have been placed on the parking meter, and that could have just made it so I could have scanned it with my phone and took me directly to download the app from the App Store, which would have been great, not to mention a great time saver. So something else that could have been done was to just put the URL to download the app directly on the parking meter. And that preferably would be a short URL because I would be on my mobile phone just as anyone else would be. And it'll be easier to just simply type in a short URL and that would be easily accessed. Now, there's some other options as well for solutions that I can think of. One would be to use NFC, where you could have an NFC tag. You just tap it with your phone. It just downloads the app right to your phone. Same thing. Or also using SMS or maybe an email with the auto reply that just provides you with a direct link to the mobile app and the responses. So just think of the time that would be saved. If you are doing this for your business, you are a small business, you have a boutique, and you want people to download your app, then that is something that you can do. You can do any of those things. Just be creative with that. So again, if you're a boutique, you have your store, you have your mobile app, and you want to increase your app downloads, then I would suggest on a basic level, just on the very basic, use a QR code. They're just so easy to do and they're free. And just keeping this in mind, think of what your customers will think of you, the entrepreneur, the business owner. They will know that you care about getting the important information to them because you took the time to make it easy for them to access it. Now, here's just a short list of benefits. Quick access. People want to save time. They're in a hurry. Oftentimes, they're making their purchases, they're doing their transactions. If you want to give something to them, make it easy for them to access it. So providing quick access would be ideal. It saves time. Making it easily accessible quickly simply just saves time. The final benefit that I have is that there is no searching in the App Store for your mobile app. This can be a little frustrating, especially when there are apps that have similar names to your mobile app. And what I mean by that is when you have your potential customers or your existing customers, you're like, hey, go download my app. It's called, Cool Clothing Store. And they go to the App Store and look for this Cool Clothing Store app. There's going to be tons of them in there. But if you provide it in a way that's easily accessible by way of a link, having that directly sent to them or easily accessible either by a short URL with a shortener such as Bitly. You could do it that way, or even using a QR code. Or as I mentioned, you can have them access it by way of NFC or even using an email response autoresponder with the link to the app to download your mobile app, or then also a SMS. I've seen companies do that as well, where you send your phone number in and you get a link back in the response that says, tap here to download our mobile app. Now, your mobile app will be on the phones of your customers, and this allows your business to connect with them and provide useful information that is easy for them to access. So think about your restaurant menu. Think about if they ordered from you from home and they come to the store to pick up their order, and now it's super easy because they already have your mobile app and they just open the app, do some type of, hey, I'm in, or I'm here, check-in type of feature that you may have in your app, and now everyone's happy. So this would be great for grocery stores or restaurants, for example. Also, for any specials that your business is offering, again, you've made it really easy for them to have access to your app. You've made it really easy for them to download your app. And now you can just connect with your customers. Now, here's a good one too. If your business is a DMC or a destination management company, then by them having your app, you could now provide quick access to walkable areas or local events that are going on in the area that your DMC is promoting. So one more thing, if you own a salon, just think about this. Your customers can easily make appointments. So the idea here is make your mobile app easily accessible to your customers. Again, to recap, you can do that by either using QR codes to do that, which I highly recommend because they're easy. You can do them for free. Also on ctamarketing.biz, you can do that there. You can also use email responders where you have them send an email to getmyapp@yourwebsite.com, and then an autoresponder would just simply reply back saying thank you, and then here's a link to download our app. Then there's no person involved. There's no time involved. Once you get it set up, it's working for you and you can continue to run your business. So the other thing I want to mention too is the SMS. That can be costly, I think, because you have to pay for that service. But if you can do that, then do that. It's an easy way to do it as well. So just make sure that you also include a way for customers to leave feedback for you from within your mobile app, because that's just a great way to get testimonials and then also to help you grow your business. With that feedback, be it good or not so good, you can still use it. So if it's valid, just make sure that you're taking that in and finding a way to use that to make your business better. So everyone, thank you for listening. This concludes episode 32 of the Call to Action podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And I just want to reiterate the quote that I shared from the Dalai Lama. And here it is again. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Until next time. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Call to Action podcast. Make sure to visit me at ctamarketing.biz. There you can find articles for entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Until next time.